thing.
I ain't taking nothing but win.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Unscripted Sports Show. MoneyE here, back with another edition of the college football preview. National Championship Day, National Championship Night, Martin Luther King Day too. So, Indiana and Miami for the national championship. Indiana trying to go undefeated, going 16-0. They would be the first team to go 16-0. Not the first team to go undefeated, but the first team to go 16-0. Miami trying to win the first national championship in 25 years. Since 2001, they are looking for their fourth national championship, and they are looking to do it at home in Miami. National championship is in Miami this year, and Miami is basically the home team. Let's face it, they're probably going to have most of the crowd. I would say maybe it might be closer than people think, even me. I would say 60-40. I expect that there's going to be a lot of Miami alum on the sideline because it's in Miami, and a lot of those players love the U so much that Michael Irving, Ray Lewis, they've been on the sidelines. I expect other players to be on the sidelines, maybe even The Rock. I'm assuming The Rock might be in attendance. He's a big Miami U guy. But I'm repping my Florida Gators because I hate Miami. I hate the U. I'm a Gators fan. So I'm wearing the real orange. The real orange is Gators. That's right. Gators real orange. Not this baloney crap in the Orange Bowl. So it's Miami, Indiana, national championship. Indiana's trying to go undefeated. Right now, they're currently minus 7.5 point favorites, maybe even minus 8. It dropped to, it's opened at 7.5. It went up to 8. It's been at 8 until I think late yesterday. So it's been at 8.5 most of the last 10 days until yesterday, until probably yesterday or 2 days ago. So it dropped to 7.5. Who knows? It might drop to 6.5 by kickoff. People might be smashing Miami because they're at home. You got the Miami fans probably gonna smash that number in the money line. I'll get to my pick and my best bet in a minute after we do preview here. Let's see. Let's see how we got here. Let's start with Indiana because they are undefeated. Oh no, let's start with Miami because technically they're the road team. So they're gonna be choosing the coin toss. So they're technically the road team. So let's look at their schedule. Let's look at how they got here. They beat Notre Dame on opening weekend, week one. And then I'm not even showing them. What am I doing? Yep. So they beat Notre Dame in week one. Let's take a look at the stats. It's Carson Beck's debut. No, I'm not going to look at the stats. Never mind. But yeah, they beat Notre Dame 27-24. I had a bet on Miami, so that was an easy bet. Then they won the second game 45-3. They beat South Florida 49-12. And then they didn't lose until they lost to Louisville at home 24-21. They beat Stanford the following week 42-27. They lost to SMU in overtime 26-20 in SMU. So they lost one each at home and one on the way. and then they won the last 4 games, and then the last 2 in the playoffs. So, Miami comes in with one of the best defenses, if not the best, 11th ranked defense, 45th against the run, against the pass, 6th against the run. So Indiana's going to have to pass the ball more. And that's not a problem for the Heisman Trophy winner in Mendoza. So they're 74th in rushing. They are 37th in passing offense, 41st in overall offense. So I want to take a look at some here. Yeah, see, 7.5 on FanDuel. It's the best number. 46.5 plus 250. Trying to look for comparisons. Let's look at Indiana first. As we know, Indiana is undefeated. As I said, keep saying they're 15-0, trying to go be the first team that's 16-0. They won every game. They won 27-14. They won every game by more than 13, I believe. No, they won every game by. They had a close game against Iowa. That's their closest game with Iowa and Penn State. I thought their only close game was Penn State, but I think they are. Let me see, Indiana against ATS this year. Indiana ATS. Indiana. Let's take a look at it. No, not basketball. I don't think I did that one right. I think it did basketball. Okay. Make sure I did the right one. Then I'll take a look at Miami. So, Indiana. Begin. Indiana, 10-5 against ATS. So they didn't cover in 5 games. I didn't realize that. I thought it was only 2 because there were so many. I thought they covered every game, but 10-5 this year against the spread in the regular season. That's all games. So I think conference games. Let's look at the conference. 7-4 against the conference in conference games. Because they played Oregon, so that's why they have 11. Oh, here. As a favorite. As a favorite, they're 8-5 against the spread. So in 2 games they weren't the under. Ohio State they weren't the under. They were the underdog. Another game I don't know what they were. But yeah. So Indiana 8-5 against spread as the underdog. I mean, as a favorite. As an underdog, let's see. 2-0. They're 2-0 as an underdog. Let me see. Let me look at. Okay, let me see. Neutral site. I mean, it's not really neutral, but okay. Against okay, 5-0 against ranked opponents. Okay. Okay. What did I do? I don't know why I did that. Now let's look at their stats. Back to this. 12 in offense, 53rd in rushing, 12 in rushing, 53rd in passing, 53rd, 12th in rushing. So they are a rushing team. This is going to be an interesting matchup because you got a top 12 rushing team against the top 6 rushing defense. And in Indiana itself, they're good against the run. So we're going to see a lot of passing in this game. You expect a lot of passing in this game because both teams are good against the run. But Indiana is better at rushing than passing because they're 53rd in passing. And then 23rd against the pass and 4th in defense. So both teams are good, are top 11 defense. Both teams are in top 12 in offense. And Miami is, I forgot where. Let me look back at Miami now. And we'll take a look at Miami's ATS. So they're 41st. Miami is 41st. I thought their offense is better. Their offense was a lot better last year. See, they like to run the ball too. So both teams love to run the ball. Both teams are going to try to run the ball, but both teams are good against their defenses. Are good against it. So yeah, let's take a look at this again. Let's see, ACC. Okay, let's take a look. Why keep Miami 6-0 against ATS. Their records against the ranked opponents this year. ATS is 6-0. So both teams are undefeated against the spread. Both teams have covered against ranked teams. Because Miami is ATS record against the spread. Miami's record against the spread is 6-0. Indiana's record against the spread, I believe it was 5-0. But both teams are undefeated against the spread against ranked opponents. Let's see. At home, with the dog. I mean, I guess they won't count this as a home game. So they're 1-0 against the spread at home as an underdog. Let's try neutral site because that's more what they are. Two and 0 against the spread on neutral sites. So they're 2-0. Let me look. Let's look at the over-under trend. Again, let's look at Miami. Miami is 6-9 on the over and under. So there's, I guess, how does that work? Over. Okay, here it is. Miami is 40% on over and 60% on the under. So you would think take the under in this game, but what is the over under in this game? I don't even know. Hold on. The over under is 46.5. So Miami is 6-9, 40% on the over and 60% on the under. So they're 6-9, 9 unders, 6 overs. Now Indiana. Indiana. Where are you? 8-7. So they're more towards the over because they were a high scoring team. Let me see. On the road. Or a non-conference game. Non-conference. The record again on the over under is 22. 22. Neutral site. One and two. Okay. Have to look at Miami. One a neutral site, but it's not a neutral site for them. It's home, so it's the home team. I guess it would be at home, right? As home. So the over under is 46. So let's take a look what they were last year, each of them. Just curiosity on what they both were last year. Miami is an underdog. I mean, it's not the same team. Yes, I know. Neither have the same quarterback. So, but both have the same coach. So, Miami was a dog last year, 1-2. Let's take a look at Indiana. Just curiosity. Is a favorite. Indiana last year 8-5 as a favorite. So they've been pretty good against the spread the last 2 years. So with that said, let's close this. So with that said, I've gone back and forth with this. I had Miami at first because they were at home, and then after the Indiana game, I think I decided that I think Indiana's gonna win. They're gonna crush them. Then over the last 10 days or so, I've thought about it more and looked at the trends like that one, and there hasn't been a close game in the national championship game since 2018. Yes, last year wasn't close. Ohio State was controlled that game most, and then Notre Dame made a small run, but that wasn't close. Last close game was 2018 between Georgia and Alabama. Alabama won 26-23. Was that the last one, or was that the year before that? Now I have to look. Hold on. This was 26-23. Alabama won. That was the last time it was a close one. Last time a underdog won. Technically, it was Clemson, but going closing line, they were the favorite. So the opening line, they were the underdog. Closing line, they were the favorite. So technically, if you Google it, they would say Clemson's the last one, sort of. So there hasn't been an underdog that won the national championship since, I guess you would say Clemson, because it became a pick'em basically. But Clemson opened as the dog, so if you take that into account, opening as a dog, then yeah. So, but at the last national championship game that was close, that was less than 10 points, was Georgia and Alabama in overtime, 26-23 Alabama. Alabama was favored in that game, and that was in Georgia. So that was another case where host team hosted the national championship in Georgia, right? Well, it's in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Yep. Yep, that was the last time. I believe that was even the last time the team, one of the teams actually was the home team that hosted the national championship game. Yep. 2018 Mercedes in Atlanta, Georgia, and Alabama. Alabama wasn't just the Georgia. They basically were the home team in that game. So last time, I think that was even the last time a team got to be got to play at home for the national champion. I think that was the last time. I have to go back and check. Let me check that. (2019) last team to be at home for How many teams? Yeah, I believe last one was Georgia. They were the last one to. No. So 2020. Trying to think. Oh, um, LSU was at home for the national championship. So okay, well, LSU was home for the national championship in 2020, and they won. 2021. So that might have been the last time. Yeah, because last time it was in Miami, it was 2021, Alabama and Ohio State. So. And then 2022, the national championship was in Indiana. And that was Kirby Smart and Alabama. I mean, Georgia and Alabama. 2023 was in. Was that Georgia too? No. I think that was in California. And then 2024, 2 years ago, Michigan won. That was in Texas. And last year in Ohio State versus Indiana. Yes, 34-23. That seemed like a close game, but it wasn't. It wasn't really. It was still a double-digit win. And that was in Atlanta. So last time a team host with the host team in the national championship was LSU, and they won in 2020. And before that was Georgia against Alabama, and they lost. So last two times it's 1-1. So, but I think Georgia was the underdog in that case, and they lost. But yeah, I'm picking Miami. I went back and forth with this. I'm picking Miami to at least cover that spread at plus 8.5. I think they are live on the money line. I really do think they're live on the money line. I think this is going to be a tough game for Indiana. This could be their toughest game of the season, even though they had their tough game against Penn State and Iowa. Those two were close. But they haven't had a close game since Ohio State in the SEC championship game, not SEC in the Big Ten championship game in Indianapolis when they won 13-10. So I see a similar result here. Indiana probably wins. To be honest, I'm picking Miami to win, even though Indiana will probably win. I'm just going. That makes sense. I'm probably going to be wrong here. So it's probably going to win, but I'm going with Miami. I'm going with the dog. Miami wins their fourth national championship, first one in 25 years. Really celebration days for probably this all week. So if Miami wins, good for them. But I still hate the U down. But today, I can't believe I just did that as a Gators fan. So, but today I'm not rooting for Miami, but I think the value is on Miami because they are the underdog, and plus 8.5 is just that it's a tricky number, and I think they can cover that. Or 7.5. 7.5 is that trap line. 7.5 because you get beat by a hook. I could see Miami backdooring this. I really could. I really could see them backdooring this. Even if they don't win, I can see them backdooring this. Last minute touchdown, fluke touchdown, whatever. They're down 14. They're down 10. They could cover it that way, win by 3, lead by 3, whatever. But I see them down. I could see them down 2 possessions with a minute left. They get a fluke touchdown and they cover the spread. Indiana wins. Miami covers. Miami backers are happy because they got the cover. Unless they had the money line. I might live bet it if Indiana goes up early, up 7-0. I could live bet that money line because it probably will be around 400, 500. Why not? I'll probably live bet the spread too. Over under. I think this goes over. I think Miami wins 27-24 in the classic national championship game. You see 2 quarterbacks slugged it out on and slinging it. So I see Miami winning, even though I'll probably be wrong. I don't know. I could see it going either way, obviously, but I see Miami. I'm going back with Miami because that was my original pick. Because I had the theory that Miami's going to win at home ever since they beat Ohio State. So Miami wins the national championship, as much as that pains me to say. 27-24. Carson Beck is the MVP. And Miami ends the hopes and dreams of Indiana going undefeated and being the first 16-0 team. We've seen this before where a team dominates all season and then they have their worst game of the season in their last game. I've seen it so many times, especially in college sports. So I hope Indiana wins because I like Indiana better and I'm rooting for Indiana, but I have a feeling Miami's going to win. But wouldn't be surprised if Indiana won. So, if that makes sense. I wouldn't be surprised if I'm wrong, but I have a feeling Miami is going to win. But I'm rooting for Indiana. Best bet, plus 8.5. If you got that, if you can still get that. I don't know if any books still have that, but 7.5. Best advice is to live bet this, especially if Indiana scores first. Live bet the spread, and maybe even live bet the over, or bet the over now and bet the under late in the second half. It could turn into a defensive battle in the third quarter, and then the over could be dead. But yeah, with that said, my best bet is plus 7.5 Miami. Sprinkle some on the money line. I'll probably be back this week for NFL Conference Championship Sunday preview between New England and Denver. Sucks that Denver's not gonna have their starting quarterback and Bowen, who broke Bowen's ankle on Saturday on Saturday on a fluke play because it was just to get position for field goal. So I call it basically it was a fluke play. Sucks that Bo Nix got injured there. So New England has the advantage. But Drake hasn't looked. I don't think Drake May has looked that great in the playoffs so far. So, and they're playing another tough defense here. So, preview that, and then Seattle and the Rams. Number 1 versus number 5 in NFC. Number 1 versus number 2 in AFC. I don't know. Last time there was all four, both number 1 and 2 seeds made it to the conference championship in both conferences. I had a feeling the Rams were going to win after the Patriots won. So I didn't see all top 4 seeds making it to the conference championship. So as I said, MoneyE is out. Later, guys. Oh yeah, and this Friday we're finally going to do on the Wrestling through the years. We're finally going to do the awards. Supposed to do it last week, but I had to postpone it due to other stuff. And subscribe to the Unscripted Sports Show feed on Spotify on the top left, right there. Right there. I'm trying to point where it was, but it's in the corner. It's a my right hand corner. So yeah, the right hand corner, and then subscribe to Everything Unscripted on the other side. Let's get this out and flip this, and it's on the left hand corner. The left hand corner for the Everything Unscripted the Everything Unscripted feed where all our podcast audio is on. So that's the one that that's the main one. And then, as I said, subscribe to the Unscripted Sports one. That was on the right. This is on the left one. So that said, MoneyE is out. I don't know why I talk in third person.
Bang. I ain't taking nothing but win.